Hello everybody, my name is Jody. My husband David John and I have a small farm in the panhandle of North Idaho. These are our stories and adventures, so welcome to Moose Flats Farm. And today, we had a little cancer scare with my dad. Went up and visited him, and he was so bored that he has tried starting some apples that he got the seeds. He's not even sure what type they are, but he did have to take. And he is cancer clear now. Just got the results yesterday, so good news. It was a scary couple months. But on the apple note, I was out here cleaning out the buckbrush, getting ready to put a new layer of mulch down in the apple boxes. And let me show you what Mother Nature started for me. So the old adage, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Not sure what type of apple it is. Won't know for probably 5-10 years. But evidently he's meant to be over where the nectarine was. Before I put that up there, let's go over. So we are going to work on getting the perennial bed in the garden put in, and then work on how I'm going to do my mint this year. So I've kind of basically laid everything out. I've got the echinacea mini roses. I'm going to do the couple black pansies, the moss rose, and the same over on this side. And I did pick up this little star creeper that I'm going to divide and plug in around the clematises, also with the moss roses. So let's get on with getting this bed planted. So on this little star creeper, even though I've only got 6 of them, because it is a perennial and it spreads, I thought I was sitting on the handle of the hose. And so I'm going to split 4 of these, and 2 of them are actually going to go down at the house. I've got a couple bare spots in that garden bed, or that flower bed, that I'm going to plant 2 of these. And definitely ready to be put in the ground. So there's a plug. I'm just going to gently pull them in half, or is kind of in half. But take these, and this is one way you can stretch some ground covers like this, is by splitting them. And from 1, I now have 3. So that got those 2 beds planted, and yes, I did do the two-tone effect with the mulch. Since this is kind of a perennial garden, I've done the red mulch just so I can differentiate between food and forever. So let me show you what it looks like, and then show you another little cute spot, and then we'll go get my mint planted. So there's the effect that you get doing the two-tone, and that clematis is almost doubled in size. And this bed over here, and this one has also almost doubled in size. So let's go take a look at it from the gate. Minus all the clutter, but looks pretty cool. And I did the other day when I was going through and when I found the little apple tree, I did clean up this bed underneath the Christmas tree. Let me get rid of this bucket because it will ruin the effect. But got it all weeded out. Got my little fairy there, the little fence around it. And it is completely rebarked. Just did this little whimsical tic-tac-toe board, and David John beat me in tic-tac-toe. But you can kind of see the two-tone effect. I've got to get my walkways reshaved, but the difference between a permanent bed and temporary. And I did go through and divide the chive plant and buried that pot. It's just a little prettier than the black plastic pot, but the other half of the chive pot's out by the asparagus where we're going to be working at next. So meet you guys up at the hoop house. So what I'm going to do for the mint, and I've totally pirated this idea, is I got the old duck swimming pool that they no longer need because they have the big one. I have gone through and spray painted it for the most part brown, as you can see, just so it's not this big blue blob up here. So you're going to want to drill between 8 and 10 holes in it, and I've got, not sure what size of bit, but a decent size one. And then I am going to be using some recycled soil and some fresh, just because I like to reuse the potting mix of plants that haven't made it or were cold for whatever reason. No sense in wasting it. So we're going to go through and get these planted, and because mint is a bully and will take over a space, I'm going to be planting mint, and this year basil. The basil won't last through the winter, but by next year the mint will have taken over this whole pond anyways. So let's get some holes dug and get this guy filled up and planted. And I'm just going to do 8 holes because I do have right there, the old drain plug from when this was a duck pond, and the ground is kind of sloped, so I do have it angled that if I need to, I can unplug that to drain it better if we get a monsoon or something come in. And like I said, this is recomposted or reused soil from last year's seed starts that I just took and dumped them in a garbage can with no drain holes in it and with the lid on it all winter, and just let them do their thing. And as you can see, the soil did not dry out, so, and for the most part the roots have just composted in. Get the big clumps picked out, and it's one of those, in a bed like this you can grow, because this one is decently deep, you can pretty much grow any vegetable you wanted in it. Okay, let's add some new stuff. And I'm just going to go through and break up the big clumps and kind of mix it in so we got a good mix of new and repurposed. That looks good. Now let's get our plants placed so we can see how many we can get in here. And I will wind up having to put some box wire, or not box wire, there's box wire here, black netting in this section here, just because the geese like to stick their heads in, and I know they won't eat the mint, but they may sample the basil. So that's about where I'm going to have the spacing for the mint. We'll get it planted and then we'll plug in the basil in the empty spots. Okay, so that gets the mint in looking lovely. So we're going to be planting the blue spice basil. And I have a duck already coming. The Thai basil. Couple sweet basils. Whoa. And some red basil. Okay, let's get this basil watered, or planted, and then we'll water. Definitely looks like I will be doing the fence sooner rather than later, since all the chickens are interested in coming over and seeing what I'm planting. So that gets everything planted. And I'm gonna go put the black fence up, and then I'm gonna get this watered. And because this is part of the food garden, it will get the pine shavings on it. We'll be back to show you the end effect. So as you see, I've gone through and gotten a layer of pine shavings down in the walkway and on the bed, and the black fence to keep those guys out. But let's do a quick gosling check-in, because these guys have gotten huge. So that one right there, that's the little Emden, and right next to him is a Chinese crested, and then you have an African and the other African, and behind them are the other three Chinese crested goslings. And Thor is not liking me taking pictures, but they are getting big. Look how big that Emden is. And here, like I said, is the other half of the chives. I just quite literally cut it in half, replanted that one, and I did get the asparagus, as you saw, moved over here by the hoop house. So it gives me this area that I need to get cleaned up, and some landscape fabric down, and get the horseradish and whatever else I want planted out here. Let's go down to the seed shed and I'll show you the update on the pepper tower. So I have brought it outside on the deck for during the days, or today's the first day I've had a chance to get it out, but it is doing great. It's like this one here that we pruned the top out of. Look at all of that growth coming on it. Got the little marigolds. Some of them were a little spottier than others, but it's like, look at all that new growth. And even the big ones got a bunch of new growth. But it is looking really good. So this is where I'm going to end today's video. I hope it gives you some inspiration on trying different ways to plant things and to experiment. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll be back with you guys for the next adventure. Bye for now.